Tennessee NENA Legislative Committee member, Tennessee Emergency Communications Board, Police and Fire Dispatcher, Training Quality Assurance. God, I'm so sorry you had to do that. And you did that for a long time. The Q&A is brutal. Communications Center Supervisor, also worked as a director and now currently the director at Metro Nashville. Wow. Well, I already have some questions for you about Metro Nashville and how that's going, but we'll get to that at the end. We do really appreciate you coming out and talking with us this morning. So we will give you the floor.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for the opportunity to be on the call here today, and really the chance just to sit in and listen to your chapter business so far. Learning and watching and how each chapter functions and how the membership works across the nation is really interesting to me. You're right. Quality assurance is death. But it's critical, right? We have to do it, but to do it very long is a challenge. Soul sucking can be a little bit. So exciting for the opportunity to talk to you guys today. Appreciate you running through some of the boring pieces of bio, because y'all don't really care who I am. You care about what we're going to do together. And that is something that's important to me and where we're going forward. And one of the reasons why I feel it's the right time, and I'm making this effort to run for APCO second vice president at the international level. A lot of good friends on here, right? I see Ernie, I see Chuck Taylor, and some of the other folks I've had the privilege to work with for so many years on APCO committees prior to this. And I think that's the underpinning of again, really why I'm leaning forward into this opportunity is the strength of the individual members. And a lot of what you mentioned, Tim, to start this call, of using AI to take our non-emergency calls, utilizing remote work options, whether it's work from home or work somewhere else, which broadens some of the opportunities we have to when we say anywhere, right? Maybe you're back up now. So many solutions that are sitting out there, and we're right on the cusp of taking these things that are technologically possible, and we're moving into a time of operationalizing those, or developing the policy or the governance around how we're actually going to use them, because we can point to places where they're being used or they're being tested. So all that's really exciting. Just looking forward to the opportunity to explore that in this role, and making sure that APCO is connecting consistently with its membership to use the strength of its membership to tackle some of these problems as we move forward. Because I'm positive that the APCO Executive Committee is not APCO. The Gulf, the board of directors is not APCO. It is those in the committees, it's those in the membership who are doing the work every day who make APCO strong and relevant. So I think making sure we have a clear line of communication and constant communication with our membership helps us to remain relevant and actually solving problems every day, which is my concern, right? How does APCO and my coordination and networking within APCO help me when I go back into my comm center every day to tackle the challenges that we're tackling? So thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all today. I'm wide open to have conversations. Tim, if you want to facilitate a conversation between folks on the call, that's fine by me.
Yeah, that would be great. I really appreciate you, and I think it's important. I mean, all these years of dedicated service and beyond just, the day-to-day, the 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, all this different volunteer opportunity. Did anybody have any questions? No questions. So I was just curious what you guys are doing in your current center now, as far as equipment you're using, challenges you have, or some of the opportunities you're looking for in the future.
Sure. Everything you just mentioned, when you started the call, and I'll get into some of those details. We are using a Motorola Premier One CAD. We're on an Intrado Viper CPE solution. We obviously deploy a Rapid SOS solution inside of our CAD system. I mean, inside of our center today, we're on Russ Bassett console. I'm sorry, we will be on Russ Bassett consoles as part of a renovation that's starting right around the corner. If you're ever wondering if you want to do something crazy, renovate your center at a time where supplies and getting supplies is a challenge, because your start dates and your end dates is one big question mark. That's where one of the things we're tackling. Some of the challenges that we've seen, and I think y'all recall this, other people have had other emergencies since then, but Christmas of 2020 gave us an opportunity to focus for about 3 days on what happens when your regional tandem gets bombed by an RV and takes down all your 911 telephone network for a gosh, the mid-state, parts of Kentucky, some of northern Alabama. We just really had a fun time through those 3 days. And really in that conversation and at the outside of that conversation is we really started exploring how do we make sure that even if, and I had an emergency manager friend who really said this once, that said, we are in no fail situation. Even if the government government structure fails, even if payroll fails, 911 has to be there. Even in those moments, we have to be there. So we're working with our neighboring counties now to set up a kind of an EZNet, a regional EZNet of sorts, really on a dark fiber network that allows us, it says if my phone system's up but you're down or vice versa, we can share PRI lines, or we can share internet connectivity between our agencies in a tri-county area to make sure that we still stay up. So everybody else may still be dark. My entire county may be dark, but my neighboring county is good. So we can still get something back in and keep some heartbeats. So we're exploring some solutions there with mission critical partners. I think we've got we're beyond exploring. We've identified equipment to buy and fiber paths to bury to get to that place. Meanwhile, we're exploring remote work solutions, right? Call center that has been kind of languishing, and they've been remote in the pandemic and are handling a heavier call load than they ever have and are more productive than they ever have in a remote environment. So my ears perked up in that moment and said, wait a minute, non-emergency lines can be handled in a remote environment more effectively than they can be in cubes. Tell me about this, because we've got some 10-digit lines that I'd love to see be handled remotely by call takers that are handling our non-emergency concerns, and there's cloud CAD solutions we're exploring, like Mark 43, to bring that with an interface into our Motorola P1 that allows that CAD, kind of a very light client CAD, right, with very little requirements on a laptop to handle in a remote environment, a soft phone with a cloud CAD to bring non-emergency calls back into our center. We may have only radio dispatchers and literally 911 call takers in a facility, and then everything else is being handled remotely. We're definitely also exploring AI solutions, though we're not as far as Austin PD. I've had some conversations with Amazon Web Services about what they're attempting to do, and in both South Carolina and I think another Southern California location, they're exploring some beta testing of that type of solution. I'm really excited about that type of work because we are offering we use a website called Hub Nashville, which and it also offers a smartphone app where folks can report non-emergencies, that car that's been sitting in your neighborhood longer than you think it should, or that street sign that needs attention, whatever that is. They can take a picture of it, share it through the smartphone app, and that is delivered to our dispatchers, via a website, and our dispatchers will monitor that website throughout the day. It's non-emergency concerns, but it takes that phone call off of our dispatchers and still gets the request for service into CAD. So there's a variety of ways that we're looking for how do we get those non-emergency calls to stop ringing so that we can focus our team members on 911, which is our true mission, and our radio dispatchers on the radios that we send responders on, while still offering similar or dynamic ways to serve the public. That is all of these are things that we're exploring in Nashville, and I'm not saying that we're leaders in those in any way, shape, or form, but I'm glad to know a lot of people who are leaders in them, and we're looking to see what's working and to try to apply those.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Anyone else? Any questions? Well, Stephen, we appreciate it, and I will definitely circle back with you. We've been working with some folks at other centers across the nation. Now, your EZNet, is that AT&T or who's setting that up?
We are actually, it's owned by each agency. Each agency is going to own their portion. We own our fiber connections, and then we're using paths with it, whether Nashville Electric Service, we're sharing some of their fiber. We're looking to share fiber with the State Department of Transportation down another angle to connect to another county. And then we would manage that internally, manage that privately.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
We do have a statewide ESINet that's managed by AT&T for sure for the delivery of 911 calls. But we're looking to AT&T let us down that particular weekend at Christmas. So what I do believe firmly is carrier diversity. Nothing against AT&T. If it would have been Verizon or whoever else would have had that weekend, they would have been in the same boat. So really, we need to have more than one basket for our eggs for sure.
Yeah. Now, your agency handled that. Was that your city with the where you blew it up?
It was right downtown, about 2 miles away from a comm center.
Wow. Wow. Oh, that's incredible.
Yes, remember that well. I do have a question. This is Dennis Marin, Stephen. How are you funding this work? Is this from a grant that you're exercising, or how is this being funded?
Currently, no, that regionally assigned that we're funding out of the 911 surcharge that we received just to fund day-to-day. The way we're set up, in Tennessee is that 911 surcharge, or at least in my county anyway, that 911 surcharge is used for technology and training, and then the local government picks up the cost of our salaries, personnel, and facility maintenance.
Okay, great. I was just curious. Thank you.
Thanks again, sir. It was fantastic getting to meet you, and we will definitely circle back on another call here in the near future.
Yes.
Thank you all.
very
Appreciate
much.
your time.